For years, many sim gamers, including myself, have been criticizing EA Sports for not innovating in their sports titles. We've accused them of being lazy and doing the bare minimum, with Madden especially. While it's true they have done the bare minimum in their yearly iterations of Madden, is that necessarily a bad thing? Let's ask ourselves this question. What do the fans of Madden want, as opposed to what the fans of simulation want? After all, that is who your target audience is. We can look back at Madden 06 as a clear example of why Madden doesn't deviate from what the core of Madden is. Madden's purpose is to have a football game that appeals to everyone, not just sim gamers. When Madden 06 came out and the QB Vision Cone was introduced, this angered the main fan base of Madden, and they wanted their old, tried and true formula back. The fans' voices were heard loud and clear, and EA has not gone back to messing with a core mechanic such as passing since. Sure, it was made optional for a few more installments, but it wasn't forced. This mechanic, while innovative, wasn't appealing to everyone. The key to having a game make a lot of money is to find that special formula that works and tweak it over time. It's a bit of a balancing act, though. You have to make something that the current fans will appreciate, but at the same time, you are trying to get others to join your camp. Now, we all know that EA is probably one of the best companies in the world when it comes to marketing. They know how to appeal to their main fan base, which is the casual market. While sim gamers sit on the sideline imploring EA to change their game to make it more realistic, EA is letting it go in one ear and out the other.
Blah, 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 blah.
For years, sim gamers such as myself have been begging for innovation in football games. But do we really want innovation, or are we just lying to ourselves? Game theorists made a video about this very subject. So let's have a quick look at that video.
The hard truth is, us gamers, we're a bunch of liars. Nerdy little liars. So what am I talking about? Well, go to any gaming website and there will be article after article, forum post after forum post, bemoaning the lack of innovation in video games nowadays. The video game industry must innovate if it wants to survive. Gamers want innovation. Valve, frustrated by lack of innovation. GameStop blames console decline on lack of innovation. Call of Duty, like some antichrist of game creativity, is always the one getting blamed for this supposed stagnation of video games, as every other company sees the franchise's success and pushes towards the FPS middle ground. Games like Dead Space and Resident Evil abandon their survival horror genre in an attempt to claim their piece of the pie. Uninspired yearly sequels hit the store shelves for shameless cash-ins, and all the while we lament on the Twitters and the Tamblegrams that we want something new, something different, something innovative. Well, stop it. You don't know what you want. I think that in this glut of sequels and subtitles, this seeming recycling plant of ideas, that if we really wanted innovation in our games, sales would decline. But here's a chart tracking the sales of each new Call of Duty. Wow, that is a strong growth curve. But maybe Call of Duty is just a fluke. How about its rival, Battlefield? Nope. Okay, well, how about something that isn't a shooter? Assassin's Creed. 8, 9, and 12 million copies sold across the first year for the first 3 installments. Madden. Wow, that's a name that's never appeared on this show. Theorists, this is probably a new realm of the gaming world for you, so let me explain. Madden is a game series meant to simulate an activity known as football, in which a prolate spheroid meant to mimic a pig's inflated stomach is tossed from player to player until reaching what is known as the end zone. It's a foreign concept, I know. For our scientific purposes, all you need to know is that the franchise's yearly release is often equated to a glorified expansion pack of updated team rosters. And yet, look at the sales chart. We see drastic growth there too. If innovation was something we were truly looking for in our games, COD's latest shooting gallery or Madden's yearly pigskin palooza wouldn't see such tremendous growth, and yet they do. But let's look at the chart a different way. let's clear away the 3DS and Wii U games, since those systems are still new and the sales numbers for those games are still coming in. And instead, let's order the games from highest selling to lowest. Look at the games at the top of the chart. Super Mario Bros., New Super Mario Bros., New Super Mario Bros., Super Mario World, Super Mario Land, Super Mario Bros. 3. What do they all have in common? I mean, outside of having Super Mario in the title, they're all 2D Mario platformers, a formula as old as the first game. Now look at the ones on the bottom of the list. Galaxy, Galaxy 2, Yoshi's Island, and Sunshine. What do they have in common? They're all games that were praised for being new, fresh, innovative, entries in the series that clearly break from the typical Mario formula, and apparently despite all that praise, they're games that, relative to their more formulaic counterparts, couldn't sell. Any way you look at it, the data is overwhelming. Sequels with increased sales, new IPs with decreased ones. Games that break their molds don't sell, but ones that fall into established formulas do. For as much as we'd like to deny it, budget spent and creative risk taken are usually inversely proportional, meaning a bigger budget means less creative risk, and the numbers prove that that's the smart choice. Why waste money reinventing the wheel when releasing the same wheel with a new paint job just will get you more?
So, as you can see, the data shows clear evidence that new just doesn't sell as much as a tried and true formula. So, it only makes sense to just tweak what sells without changing too much. It's a real fine line though. Research is a big part of marketing, so let's really delve into this one question that a lot of us fail to even consider. Do people really want innovation? Or do they just want to be in a familiar place and do familiar things? Backbreaker was one football game that tried to innovate, but in doing so, they turned off any potential Madden fans with the camera system, enforcing the player to play in one perspective. As Angry Joe mentions in his review of the game, that sense of familiar surrounding was gone in Backbreaker. Therefore, it turned off many potential buyers.
The issue here is the control scheme and the camera. We have been playing football games the same way for over 30 years. A top-down overhead view with the ability to see the full field, making decisions, watching plays unfold, and then taking advantage of the opportunity. In Backbreaker, the camera's up close to the player. The cool thing is it puts you right into the action on the field. But this limits your field of view and it doesn't lend itself very well to multiplayer at all. Guys, we should at least have the option to play from normal eagle eye point of view. Because you want to design a game in a particular way is fine, but don't punish every single football video game fan by not giving us the opportunity to play the way we are accustomed to.
So if innovative games do not sell, why would EA change their engine or core mechanics of the game when it would cost them more money and resources and have the potential of angering their fan base? Example, just look at what happened when Capcom changed the look of Dante in Devil May Cry.
Cry HD Collection.
A single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
Yeah! What's next? Oh no, no! What have you done? You bastard! You killed it! You killed it! No! No! Okay, when you got a new art team, talented, and you come up with a new concept for the way an iconic character will look, you always run the risk of angering your fan base and alienating your fans. Now, you could leave the character looking the same, which it probably would have been awesome if they did, but then it wouldn't really be a reboot, would it? No. So they want to make their mark on the franchise and still make people happy with the new design. But you have to keep in mind, whatever you make, it's only going to please a percentage of the people. Not all of them. But how many? 70, 60, 40, 20%? How many do you think are pleased with this look? We may never really know, but it's a tough call. You go with whatever you think is best. However, it's my judgment that the new Dante looks stupid! I hate the new Dante. Where before we had this light-hearted, pizza-loving, half-demon, devil-slayer mercenary who craved a good adventure and challenge with some smart aleck one-liners.
Wow, I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you'd definitely take first place. Easy, Fido. How about I take you out for a walk? Come on, puppy. Let's go. It's showtime. Come on.
Now we have a half-demon, half-angel, potty-mouth teeny bopper.
I helped you back there.
I didn't ask for your help.
These two examples, Backbreaker and Devil May Cry, both have something in common. They took creative risks by breaking away from the common mold of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This, however, is dangerous territory for developers and companies to take, which is why we have what I like to call the safe route. Games that companies know they can release and sell millions of copies, such as Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and of course, Madden. But does that mean no company can be innovative and be successful? Let's look at Nintendo. We can take a look at how Nintendo has been the most innovative gaming company, yet they are always behind Microsoft and Sony. Why is this? Don't people want innovation? Apparently not. The Wii U was unfamiliar to the hardcore fans of video games with its new way to play games on the gamepad, and the casual market was already invested in mobile games, and the Wii fad that had started with the Wii had died out. People again were longing for familiar territory, and Nintendo was missing many core features that hardcore gamers were accustomed to, like voice chat, party chats, achievements, trophies. Nintendo's offerings were just too unfamiliar to a demographic that would have boosted their sales of their console, the hardcore gamer. Now, I want you guys to listen to some of this video from Mark of Classic Game Room when he reviews Super Mario Bros. U for the Wii U.
This is like a McDonald's cheeseburger. It's consistent, and why you go to McDonald's in the first place, to get a cheeseburger. Occasionally, you may experiment with their menu and try something fancier like pancakes, but you always come back for cheeseburgers. Like Super Mario Bros., you really expect the same thing over and over again. Consistency and quality. Well, that term is relative, of course, but you know what to expect. And while Mario has done a lot of other things, and they've tried to experiment with different gameplay styles like the Mario Galaxy games, Mario in 3D, Mario playing sports, racing, hunting, fishing, whatever, but you keep coming back for cheeseburgers. And it's a good cheeseburger. It's warm, it's satisfying. Anyway, my point here is that people gripe about Nintendo always giving them the same games over and over again, but this is what people expect from Nintendo. 2D Super Mario Bros. Games, and if they're going to sell Wii U's, they've got to give Nintendo fans what they want. If you've played any Super Mario Bros. Games, you'll pretty much know what to expect here. You get challenging platforming, colorful level designs, you can play with your friends, and there's the Mario music that you know and love, but you've seen it all before. However, it's a quandary. That's a fun word. Because if you change it, people won't buy it, and then they'll complain about that. So, really, people are just gonna complain, no matter what. Yeah, it's the same game, but whatever, just give me my damn cheeseburger. Nintendo is giving you exactly what you want. Unless what you want is diversity, in which case, well, it's probably not really what you want, even though you might say that's what you want. Just imagine the outcry if Nintendo actually changed something with these games. It would be like McDonald's putting tuna fish on your cheeseburger. That sounds terrible.
We keep hearing a recurring theme throughout this video. if the gamer isn't familiar with the title, then they're just not comfortable. This explains a lot about Madden players. How if the game would to change into a simulation type game and the gamers were stripped of all of their glitches and the way they're accustomed to playing Madden, they would not like it. And EA can't afford that. And they're not going to let that happen. The same thing with Nintendo. But they have deviated from their classic side-scrolling games. And whenever they have, the sales have been lackluster. In the charts, it proves it. But what does that say about the consumer? Do we just flat out don't want innovation, but we keep saying we do? The sales numbers prove that we don't like innovation, that we want what we're accustomed to. We want to feel comfortable, just like Backbreaker. We wanted that camera that made us feel like we were playing Madden. In Mario, we want that side-scrolling action. We didn't, even though the 3D games were amazing and still are, they just didn't sell as well as the side-scrolling games, and probably never will. Now, these are only 3 people's opinions. And the whole reason I made this video was to tell you guys this next part. Now, it's easy to just conform to a line of people just bashing Madden when they're not a fan of the franchise. But when it hits close to home, your opinion may change. Mine sure did. Let's talk about possibly my favorite game of all time, Killing Floor. In the last 3 years, I have put in more hours into this game than any game I have ever played in my life. So I was very excited for the early access release of Killing Floor 2. Let's bear in mind that Killing Floor was basically a mod that came from the Unreal Tournament game. It was exclusive to PC and that particular fan base. It had solid gameplay mechanics, was well balanced, and had plenty of mod support. However, Killing Floor 2 is not exclusive to the PC. It's also coming out for the PS4. This means that the game is going to change, and it's not for the better for fans of the original. Now, there is a recurring theme in this video. A tried and true formula. Once you get that perfect formula that sells and that fans appreciate, you can't change it too much, because if you do, bad things will happen. Example, the Killing Floor 2 devs decided they were going to do away with some of the mechanics that made Killing Floor so great. The Flesh Pound mechanic. For those of you that are not familiar with Killing Floor, the Flesh Pound is an enemy that rages at you after a certain amount of time if he has you in his field of vision. You can break his field of vision and the rage timer will reset. Or if he takes too much damage at once, he will also rage. However, in Killing Floor 2, that is not the case. The Flesh Pound will simply rage after a set amount of time no matter what you do. This changes the game in ways that the Killing Floor community does not appreciate. There's also a sprinting mechanic. In the original Killing Floor, you could sprint faster by pulling out your knife. There was no actual sprint button, but because Killing Floor is now going to consoles, the sprinting mechanic is in the game a la Call of Duty, which is not pleasing many of the Killing Floor fans. The hold-handing button prompts, the whole watered-down aspects of Killing Floor 2, the auto-aiming on healing darts, sirens and bloats nerf damage. The game just doesn't feel familiar to me anymore. And I just want to go back to the original. So here we have a case where the developers are going to console and they're trying to appeal to a different audience. But in doing so, they are alienating the current fan base of the original Killing Floor. This is a formula you can't mess with. Now that I have seen it firsthand and experienced it with a franchise that I like, I understand now why EA has done what they've done. It's a win-win for them. Not only do they not have to innovate because there's no competition, but they don't need to innovate because they don't want to take the risk of alienating their fan base and pissing off their fans. Why would you do that? You know EA has a lot of people doing research, and they know that they just have to tweak their formula every year. They know the formula works and it sells. Why would they change it? They are balancing a fine line, and they don't want to change too much. As seen with the Killing Floor developers, they have went way too far and fallen off of that beam. That balancing act has been a failure so far, and unless they change it, a lot of the original Killing Floor fan base will say, I don't want to be part of this. Time and time again, when I play Killing Floor 2, I can't help but miss that familiar feeling that Killing Floor 1 gave me. I just want my damn Killing Floor cheeseburger back. So let's recap. We have seen that a tried and true formula like Call of Duty will sell millions of copies without fail because it sticks to that same formula. But whenever you change too much, if you change the look of Dante in Devil May Cry, the outrage, the fanboys just come out and give it zeros on Metacritic. They voice their displeasure. Backbreaker. It failed because we were forced to play in one perspective, but we were familiar with Madden. The familiarness of that camera angle was not there. They messed with it a little too much. They didn't give us the options. Then you have the Mario franchise with the 3Ds. It was great, but they didn't sell as much as the side-scrolling ones because that's what the players that first played it were accustomed to. That's what they expected. So do we really want innovation, guys? Or do we want to feel familiar in a comfort zone? I gotta say and admit, maybe I do not want innovation. Because if I did, I would be latching on to this Killing Floor 2 right now because they're doing things different. They're doing things different in Killing Floor, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to be part of it. I want to be part of the original Killing Floor. I wanted them to just upgrade the graphics and give me more maps and weapons. Kind of sounds like Madden, doesn't it, guys? A new perspective I have now. And I hope you guys try to consider that perspective as well. EA is just giving their fans what they want. Maybe EA isn't the pitchfork-bearing devil we perceive them as, but instead a Halo-wearing company, just trying to give their fans what they want. A familiar Madden cheeseburger.